Bonjour à toi et bienvenue à la séance de qualification la plus excitante et la plus spectaculare de la station a Monte Carlo. Don't worry guys, we're going to be doing this in English. I just thought I'd spice it up with a little bit of a French introduction as we are here at the Monaco Grand Prix, and welcome to the live watch-along of the DNF1 watch-along of Monaco Grand Prix qualifying. As always, I'm your host Adam Burns, and joining me we have a very special guest who knows a thing or two about live streaming, so I can't wait to get into this qualifying session with her. So, well, without further introduction, I couldn't think of a better way of putting it. It's Kira Megan joining us. Kira, first of all, thank you so much for coming on once again, second time with DNF1. How are you doing?
Hello, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, second time being here, loved it, thought I'd come back. I am very excited for this qualifying. Qualifying is probably the main part of the Monaco GP weekend. This is where you really know where people are going to be, and they tend to stay there tomorrow, but as we'll probably get on a little bit later, there might be rain tomorrow, so this is going to be good.
Absolutely, and of course, you know, the word of the day pretty much is going to be rain tomorrow, but for today, dry conditions as we expected, and so many stories already unfolding as we saw in practice. The Ferraris and the Red Bulls look the class of the field, but we got a bit of a surprise with Sergio Perez really showing himself to be a man with pace this weekend. So without going too much into it, of course, we've got our predictions on screen as well, but Kira, what are your predictions for qualifying? Who's looking quick, and who do you fancy for pole position this afternoon?
Honestly, Checo, like you said, I mean, Checo has been absolutely on one. For me, though, it's always something with Checo where he will it just won't happen. I don't know. It's always been that with Checo, however long he's been in Formula One now for. It's never really been something that he has excelled in qualifying. I'm still going to say Charles Leclerc. I have a feeling it's still going to be Charles. I think if you look at a side-by-side with Charles and Lewis or even Max, Charles is getting every inch out of the car. And I just feel like hopefully he'll do it. And I'm going to say that, and I hope I haven't jinxed him, because we know he has a bit of a problem in Monaco. But I'm going to say Charles Leclerc, but I think Max will pick himself up. I know he was a little bit lower in FP3, but I think he'll probably end up pipping Checo. But if he doesn't, that would be great. Yeah,
absolutely. And as you pointed out with Max Verstappen, of course, let's not forget now the championship leader. After a few weeks ago, Charles Leclerc had a huge lead. I think it was 46 points at one point. Now 6 points behind Max Verstappen, and Max characteristically this season hasn't always been able to get on top of his car. He's always had some issues early on, and he's been able to pick it up in qualifying, something that we would often associate with Sir Lewis Hamilton. But it certainly does bode well for Max. But if, in your mind, Kira, if Max Verstappen wasn't able to get on the front row and he was stuck behind his teammate and perhaps Carlos Sainz as well, where do you think his head would be at? Would he try to make up some places, or think, you know what, maybe take a loss and just try and bring it home and hope something happens ahead of him?
Well, from what we've seen last week, it's clear that Red Bull are favouring Max. Well, we did know that, but they have given us, I think, a confirmation that they are going to be favouring Max Verstappen the whole year. We saw what happened last weekend. So if it is a case, say, of Sainz and Checo ahead, Max will just be, well, Checo will move out of the way and Max will go ahead of him. I think that's quite evident that that's going to happen. And then obviously Carlos Sainz is going to put up a fight, but Max will probably, I'd say Max is going to send it where he normally sends it. I don't know what year it was, but it was when Max was stuck behind Lewis for like the longest time. What year was that? When Lewis thought his tyres were gone? 2018, 2019?
Oh, that would have been 2018, I think. Yeah, because that's right. It was 2018. Yeah,
and he was stuck, right? But Max sent it. What is it called? I'm now not going to know. Once you come out the tunnel.
Oh,
down.
Is it Massenet or LaRoche? You know, I've got my corners mixed up as well. Oh,
we'll just say the one after the tunnel. We know that one. The main breaking point, I think, and that's where mainly people can overtake at Monaco. And Max is not afraid to send it down there. So I think that's probably something he will do if Carlos Sainz is ahead. But I'm just not sure whether Carlos will be ahead. I feel like that's more likely going to be a Max and Charles fight.
Yeah, he's really had a hard time getting on top of this new Ferrari. You know, I know a lot of people have been saying that Carlos likes a car that behaves well at the rear, and Charles likes one that's a bit loose to get a bit of oversteer. Just so he can rotate the car, and for whatever reason, Carlos is really having a hard time with it. So hopefully for his sake, he can get on top of that. Just having a look at the Monaco chicane on Google, trying to find it, and it just says the Monaco chicane. Come on, what was Google doing?
I don't know. I'm getting really mixed up with my corners nowadays. I know I used to know them to a T, but now I just, I haven't really got them in my head anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it says to back, but I think that's a corner. Like, you know what? We're just going to put a pin on that one. That someone can let us know in the comments, and we can just appear on an episode of F1 Fraud if they still do that afterwards.
Oh God, we'll be on Fraud Watch.
It's getting quite a club, to be honest. There's a lot of members from what I've been seeing of late. But anyway, look, let's talk about Mercedes briefly, because they've been having a hard time in practice. You know, I kind of predicted that Mercedes would be off the pace a little bit. I thought they might be closer to, say, you know, where Bottas or perhaps the next guy in the midfield, but they seem to be even further back than that, and they're struggling with a lot of bouncing. So what do you reckon for them this afternoon, Kira? Do you think they can put it together in qualifying, or do you think that this is a theme for the weekend where they may just have to try and hope they can get as many points as they can?
I think it's going to be a theme for the weekend. I think, again, I might get my years mixed up. It was either last year or the year before. It was Lewis and Valtteri were kind of stuck like P7 type thing. I can't remember exactly when. You get stuck in Monaco. We know you get stuck in Monaco. We had that glimmer of hope last week from Mercedes when they picked it up a little bit more. But I mean, from looking at the times, they are over a second behind pole position. Naturally, Mercedes, they're probably going to catch up a little bit of pace, but I reckon they're still going to be like 8 tenths back or something. I don't really think they're going to pick up any pace. I think we're going to be going back to the pre-Barcelona Mercedes, which is a shame, but hopefully they kind of look at Monaco as they normally do, as the kind of like the one-off, the different, and then once they actually get back to a circuit, that they can pick themselves back up and hopefully go back to how they were in Barcelona. But from what I've seen, they can't get on top of the car. The car is not even in the same racing line that the Ferrari is or the Red Bull. It's not working. I don't think anything's really we're going to see anything from them. And they're probably going to be overtaken by a couple of other teams as well.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a huge bonus for them if, say, George Russell or even Sir Lewis Hamilton manages to put together an incredible lap, which, of course, we shouldn't rule out, is always a possibility at this circuit, that if someone can put it together and absolutely nail it, they can get themselves a bit further up the grid, and it can also translate into a great race result. But we've got our predictions on screen, guys. As you can see, myself, Lee and Courtney, the DNF1 team, we've got our top fives in there. Just go through those quickly. I've gone with Charles Leclerc for pole position. In fact, we've all gone for Charles Leclerc pole position. I've gone for Sergio Perez, and despite a lot of what you said, Kira, I agree very much that Perez, he does have that in him, but when it matters most, more often than not, he does undeliver a little bit. But I'm going to stick my neck out and give Checo a little bit more back in. Courtney has gone for Verstappen in P2. Lee's gone for Carlos Sainz, an all Ferrari front row. They've had the front row for the last two races, so certainly can't rule that out. Sainz in P3 for me. Perez for P3 for Courtney and Lee. Verstappen in P4 for me. Sainz in P4 for Courtney. Verstappen in P4 there. And all of us have gone for Lando Norris in P5. And Kira, I want to ask you about Lando Norris just quickly before we get going. Struggling with tonsillitis. And I've not had that, but I've heard it's meant to be a real doozy to deal with. So he's not been talking to anyone outside of his own team, and he's obviously struggling health-wise, but he's still quick. And the McLaren, in his hands at least, looks like a decent ride around Monaco. So do you think McLaren could be the dark horse this afternoon?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be Lando, to be honest. I know he's been struggling with tonsillitis last weekend and this weekend. I think we're obviously discovering now what it is, but I think he was worse last weekend, and look what he done. So I think he'll be fine. I think he'll still be the lead McLaren. I think, obviously, as we know, I've not had tonsillitis either, but I've heard it's very horrible. Maybe he needs them bad boys cut out so he doesn't get it again. But yeah, I don't think it's going to affect him in his race pace. I think, if anything, it's probably going to help. They said he's had more of a relaxed weekend. He's kind of feeling better with the car. He's not having everything around him. So that might be the winner there.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, of course, let us know what your top 5 predictions are going to be for qualifying. Do you agree with ours or any in particular, or do you have something else in mind? Let us know in the comment section below. Just seeing something there. Courtney saying that intro. Yeah, thanks, Courtney. And I'm not very good with my French. I had to sort of research that one, Google Translate.
I thought it was great. Great accent as well.
Well, I hope so. That's what I was going for. So thanks, Kira. I didn't want to sound like a British person abroad. I want to kind of embrace that culture as best as I could. So hopefully with anyone that does understand French can appreciate that a little bit better than my co-host Courtney on there. And we've got James Vozar saying hello. Hello, James. Let us know what your predictions are. Hope you're well. Motorsport Magpies giving us his top 5. Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Hamilton and Russell. Obviously going very bold with Mercedes. So, it's nice to know somebody is. Because
someone's got some hope.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I stick my neck out. I'm not confident with Mercedes this weekend. As you said, Kira, this is certainly a circuit that Mercedes never build their car around. They never design their car around Monaco, and nor should you. But it's always been a circuit that they've struggled at more than most. As we're about to get underway for qualifying, just a quick reminder for those of you that aren't familiar with qualifying, we have 3 sessions, Q1, Q2 and Q3, all split into separate segments. We have 18 minutes for Q1, 15 minutes for Q2 and 12 minutes for the pole position shootout in Q3. Of course, the bottom 5 in Q1 will be eliminated and will not take part any further. They will make up positions 16 to 20, and then the next 5 in Q2 will be eliminated, making up 15 to 11, and then of course we'll have that top 10 shootout for pole position. As a quick reminder, as it's new for this season, the tyre rule in Q2, should say that right, in Q2, where you set your fastest time, that will be the tyre that you start the race on for Q2. That no longer applies, so anyone can have a free choice of tyre if they get through to Q3, which is good for them. And of course, around Monaco, that is very, very important for strategy. And of course, we've got the threat of rain tomorrow, so that could be a factor in as well. And Kira, as we're about to get underway, just seeing Alain Prost having a conversation with someone up there. So is rain going to be a factor in people's minds for qualifying? Because could they, I mean, this is a circuit where downforce is critical and everyone's going for their highest downforce settings that it is. But is there any scope or room where teams might think about rain for tomorrow, where it might just be a case of sacrificing a little bit of qualifying performance just to make sure they survive the race tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've not overly seen the radar, so I don't know of what percent there is going to be rain tomorrow. I don't know how heavy it's going to be. I think obviously the teams will be looking at it. There's always somebody, I think it's just somebody's job just to be the weatherman in the team for the whole weekend, just to make sure that, you know, nothing's coming in that shouldn't be. So, I mean, it's probably going to be on their mind, but I think they're probably just going to go out and do quali as they would normally do quali. I don't think anybody's going to do anything too different. And I think they'll start on whatever ties they were going to anyway. And then obviously if it rains so heavily tomorrow, you're going to go on inters or wets. So I think they'll do usual today. Yeah,
it could very much be a lottery tomorrow. Just survive. And, you know, it could be end up like one of those survive videos that they do online on F1 2021 or something like that. It could end up being that way tomorrow. So qualifying is just about to get underway. Just a reminder, 18 minutes for Q1 in this session. Just watching the 2 Mercedes. How will they get on this afternoon? And it's going to be quite interesting. Before we get started, Kira, before the clock gets going, obviously you're a streamer yourself. Whilst we're here, because you're doing a stream tonight for the Champions League final, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end of Q1. But where can people find you if they want to watch that stream with you later on?
Yeah, so I stream over on Twitch. So my Twitch is Kira Megan XX. I think it's just https://twitch.tv/Kira Megan XX. But I think if you search me in Twitch, you'll find me. I'm streaming 4 or 5. No, maybe not 4 or 5. That's too much. 3 or 4 times a week, I'd say. Doing football, F1, Formula E, anything like that, really. I'm doing that tonight. Obviously, massive Champions League final. We done the Conference League the other day. So, yeah, we have got that tonight. As you said, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. I am a Liverpool fan, so I actually have a bit of a emotion in this match. I am very, when it comes to a final and I'm actually have a team invested, I turn into a different person. The nerves take over. People are watching me on stream like, are you okay? Yeah, that's where you'll find me. So 7:30 tonight, join me on Twitch and we'll be watching the Champions League final.
Yeah, I'm certainly looking to that one. It's going to be a fantastic game. But of course, qualifying has just got underway. We're 30 seconds in as we see Lando Norris with a very special helmet for this weekend. And it's often at Monaco, Kira, we see a lot of great crash helmets that make their way at Monaco weekend. Is there a particular favourite that you've seen so far this weekend?
I think Lewis's is lovely. I think Lewis's doesn't have any significance to Monaco. I think he was working with a designer on it, and designer from New York. I love the purple. I mean, me and Lewis share the same colour in purple. I'm all purple, he's all purple. The amethyst crystals was really nice as well. I just loved the lilac. I think it was great. So again, it's something we've not seen before. It's quite plain. He doesn't have too many sponsors on there or anything. It seems to just be the design. Got all the crystals on there, and yeah, I mean, everyone. I'm normally a fan of most people's helmets. I think a lot of the time people are like, I don't like that one, I like that one. Whereas most of the time, I look at them and I think they all look great. But Lewis's, for me, I think that lilac is gorgeous.
Yeah, I often feel that as much as I like Lewis Hamilton's crash helmets through the years, I kind of wish he didn't change the purple one he had last year. I thought that one was really good. But I can understand why he's gone back to the yellow, although I should have gone real old school and gone back to the original yellow that he had when he paid homage to Ayrton Senna all those years. But what do I know, eh? I'm just a guy watching Lewis from my room at the same time while he's actually going out there driving in a Formula One car. So we're just about to get going with the first flying lap. We've got Lando Norris on track at the moment. So hopefully Lando is feeling pretty good. And for a guy that is driving in the condition that he is right now, Kira, it's amazing that Lando Norris, for some people, and maybe I'm wrong in this, but some people obviously have only started to take notice of Lando Norris in terms of the upper echelons of the F1 pecking order. Because right now, I think a few years' time, whilst he's got that long deal with McLaren, if I was Mercedes or Red Bull or someone like that, I'd be keeping a close eye on Lando.
Yeah, well, I think that's what we thought Lando was going to do. I don't think anybody really expected. Well, I think Lando likes to be comfortable. I think he's very comfortable with McLaren. I know he wants to work with them, but there is obviously an element, and I also felt that as well, that he wouldn't sign such a long deal with McLaren. I think he would have waited to see whether Mercedes came knocking. I know Mercedes can maybe have a gap in their talent. Obviously, they've got Frederick Vesti coming up, and they've got before that, they've got even lower. But Frederick is the driver which is most closest. But again, that's still going to be a good couple for maybe 4 or 5 years until he can probably be in a position to take in the Mercedes job. We saw how long it took them to put George Russell up. So if it does come to the case where Lewis says, do you know what, calling it a day, they have that gap, which Lando could have filled, but he's signed on to McLaren, and I don't think he's really interested in moving.
No, and at the moment, I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't thinking about that going forward. But of course, with these new regulations, the new cars that have come out, there's plenty of scope, certainly for McLaren to make their way out the field. And of course, Mercedes, while yes, they're ahead of them at the moment, aren't exactly the most enticing proposition right now compared to a few others. So it's certainly going to be good for him to wait and see. But as I said, I just feel like if the opportunity comes calling, what an opportunity! Well, what a team that would be, Russell and Lando going for. That'd be something. As Hamilton now sets his first flying lap, 1:15.3. So they're about, well, most of the field are about 2 or so seconds off where we were seeing them early on. So they're just finding their way. I'd be surprised.
Wait for Checo.
There we go.
Oh, a second. That's mega. That's mega.
Yeah, 1:14.3 for Checo. I'm at the moment they're probably fueled up with quite a number of laps of fuel on board just to sort of get their eyes in, and obviously the tyres can take it because this is a very low deck circuit, and you know, as you see the Ferraris ramping up as Verstappen goes across the line to go fastest, and plenty of time for these guys to sort of get it right. But it almost feels, Kira, that they just have to go around and feel their way around, let the track rubber in, and hopefully be the last over the line when it matters.
Absolutely. Just want to say hello to Florian and Mark, who have said hello in the chat. I think we're a little bit ahead of some people. Mick faster than Kevin. That is also something. Yeah, I feel like this is going to be something that they're going to need to get their laps in as well. Because as we spoke about, I think we spoke about it off stream, we may have an issue here where we might not be running for an hour. We could be here for an hour and a half. We could be here for an hour and 45. We don't know how long we're going to be here for, because Monaco, the balls are there. One mistake, you're not in the runoff, and the ball's there. So I don't know whether we're going to get through any of these sessions cleanly. What do you think? Yellows, reds?
I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a red flag. I mean, we had a few crashes. We had Lance Stroll and we had Daniel Ricciardo yesterday. Fortunately, both of them look like they're going to partake in qualifying, as Ricciardo's already out at the moment. And Stroll is he on track? Yeah, he is on track. He's 8th fast at the moment. A man who knows all about the Monaco walls, Charles Leclerc, currently on his first flying lap. And look, guys, for anyone that follows DNF1 will know that I am a Ferrari fan, although I do try to be as impartial as possible when I do. But I always have a fondness for the Ferrari, and I hope that Charles Leclerc can keep it out of the barriers. I mean, last year, pole position, but he did crash and cause a red flag just at the end of qualifying. So, I'm with you, Kira, on this one. I'm sort of sitting there thinking, okay, it's looking good, but when it matters most, that's when you're going to start worrying, because these walls will really punish you if you make the slightest error.
Exactly. And another thing I think we need to look at, which we need to look at on most tracks, but especially here, is especially around Mascas, is traffic. Some of these people just look like they're parking the car on the racing line, you know? I feel like we could have an issue here. We saw it a little bit in practice, but I think we're going to have an issue where someone's going to be on a flying lap. They're going to try and go around the corner, and there's just going to be a car going about 5 miles per hour around the next corner. So that might be something to watch out on. I think this is going to be the session where it's probably going to most be in the way, because we have all got 20 drivers on the grid. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Hopefully everyone can get out of the way of each other. But I don't know. They're not very good at it normally, are they? No,
not normally. And the last thing you want to do is be getting yourself a grid penalty at Monaco, because you hardly ever make that back. And so everyone's going to have their eyes on 360-degree mode at the moment as best as they can. And the marshals do a great job at warning the drivers with the blue flags. I think when Ricciardo had his crash yesterday, they were on him instantly. And I think it took about 5 minutes for them to get his McLaren out of the way. It was incredibly quick. So if we do have any red flags, probably won't last very, very long. Hopefully. So, but let's hope that we don't. Let's hope everyone's well behaved as Perez goes fastest. 1:13.2. So we're starting to ramp up now. So that's about, Verstappen's gone P2. Signs over the line. What's this time going to be? And he's second fastest. Oh, literally matching Checo.
Oh my God, not again. They've done that in FP3.
Yeah, Leclerc and Perez did this morning, guys. And for those of you who aren't familiar with how F1 qualifying works in this sort of scenario, if two drivers set the same time, it's the driver that sets the time first that will be considered ahead of the other one. I think it was 97 in Jerez, famously, when Schumacher, Villeneuve and Frentzen all set the same time in qualifying. And I think Frentzen, was it on pole position because he said it first?
I think
in that
so.
race. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't. I was going to say, you weren't even born then, Kira, if I remember. So showing my age a little bit there. But yeah, that's literally the one that comes to mind. But just over 10 minutes left in qualifying, and seeing some of the chat in the comment. And yeah, sorry, Florian, we are a little bit ahead of you, mate. So if we do spoil it, I do apologise. But yeah, those are the breaks, really. It depends on where you're watching from.
Tell you when to watch your telly properly.
Well, this is it. I mean, I've literally just moved my stuff around so I could watch it on my Sky box, because I used to watch it on Sky Go. And I found I was like a minute behind.
So far behind.
It's so far behind. It really is. So, yeah. So now we used to be behind. Now we're ahead now as Pierre Gasly. Interestingly, Gasly was very quick this morning. So hopefully that translates into a good qualifying performance, because he certainly needs one, because Tsunoda's had the better of him for a while now.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh, I think I've lost you.
That's right. I've got Gasly coming across the line. He goes P4. So the times are ramping out. Leclerc's got done 2 purples in Sector 1 and Sector 2. It's about half a second up on Checo. So this is a much more representative time coming from Charles. He's had a slow final sector, lost a bit of time there, but he's first man into the 112s. So we're starting to get towards that ultimate pace. What do you reckon, Kira? Are we going to get a time in the 111s today?
Oh, I reckon so. I'm not very, I mean, I'm somebody that doesn't really pay attention to the final lap time. I just look at the gap. So, I mean, I think so. You'd hope so. Hopefully someone doesn't push too far to try and do something like that and then end up in the wall. But yeah, maybe. I mean, we're not quite there yet, but this is only Q1. First runs of Q1 as well, so anything can happen. Alonso's looking good, isn't he? Look at that.
Yeah, he's up there in P4. And yeah, so we haven't heard much of the Alpines. They've been quietly going about their business, just watching George Russell go through the swimming pool, literally leaving nothing at the moment. Mercedes bouncing all over the place, so obviously doing the best job he can to handle that ride. And yeah, this was something they thought they tried to get rid of, but hopefully Mercedes can pick it up. And George has been pretty impressive as well, Kira. You know, the only man so far to finish in the top 5 in every Grand Prix so far this season. So consistency certainly is the George Russell way at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people, this is an argument where people, obviously, we've changed the teammate of Lewis Hamilton. This is where the car hasn't been great. And everyone's like, see, it is the car for Lewis, because Lewis is now not doing as well. But I think people are underestimating George Russell in that sense, if you know what I mean. Like, people are now being like, oh, see, well, Lewis isn't actually that good because George has overtaken him. I'm like, no, but I think there is a difference between George and Valtteri. I think I've always said this. George Russell is such a better driver. Valtteri Bottas is great, but he's no George Russell, Lewis Hamilton to me. So that's why Lewis kind of probably doesn't look as great this year, because George has did such a good job as expected. But obviously I understand a lot of people don't and haven't followed George Russell as closely. They kind of just look at it as it is. So they probably look and think, oh, well, Lewis isn't doing great. I think it's the fact that, no, George is just doing good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Lewis has not become a bad driver overnight. And I certainly don't believe that his level has dropped a lot. I mean, he had a great drive in Spain, and whilst the car has been an absolute handful for him, probably more so than it has been for George at the moment, these things can happen. But Lewis is, you know, perhaps still a little bit hungover from what happened in Abu Dhabi. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't, as obviously had to deal with a lot of stuff mentally in the last few months. But he's still one of the best drivers on the grid, pound for pound, if not the best of them all. So at the moment, so George is doing a fantastic job, and I think it's testament to how good George Russell really is, as you said, Kira. So, you know, it all come good for Lewis, but I don't think for a second that should take anything away from what George Russell was doing. He was phenomenal in Spain, and at one point I thought he was going to win the Grand Prix once Leclerc had retired. So
honestly,
I would have loved to have seen it. I really would have.
It was like a fever dream, wasn't it? I was like, what on earth? Why is his car? And obviously, when we saw Lewis obviously have that incident with Kevin, but both cars had race pace. Like, to see George hold on and then to see Lewis come up the field, I was like, this is I'm not used to this recently. But yeah, I think George has been amazing. So good. He's lived up to all my expectations. It's kind of a shame that they didn't put him in the Mercedes last year, like I think they should have done personally, because I think we could have seen a lot more from him. But hopefully Lewis and the team can build up together, and then they can get back to the top, and we can see what George Russell really is about. Because when that man's on one, I mean, if you look at his GP3 days, F2, yeah, unreal.
Yeah, I mean, in F2, George, Lando, and Alex Albon were on a different level to everyone else, especially George. You know, and yeah, and it's not a surprise to see the three of them doing so well in F1. I'm glad Alex has got a seat, and he seems to be doing well at Williams. Hopefully, that can continue to improve because he's a very good driver in his own right. Lando's doing a great job, and George Russell now has technically does have the car underneath him to put together some great results, and he's finally showing that. And I think this guy's the real deal. So I certainly hope that translates. One thing I'm just noticing, Kira, just seeing Perez now coming across the line. The two Ferraris, we should say now, have gone half a second clear almost of Verstappen, but it's only Q1, so early days. But the pit lane exit is very close to the line the drivers are taking when they hug the inside at the start-finish line. I just saw signs there a couple of minutes ago. Do a bit of a check as we saw Lance Stroll come out of the pit lane. Hopefully nothing happens, but there's got to be a fear there where someone's not paying attention as they go over the line, that they might hit the back of someone at the wrong time.
It has always been a problem. I believe they moved the line a couple of years ago to try and help that. I don't know whether it was maybe too far out. So I believe they did try to kind of move the line, but I think it's always been a bit of a concern there. I think the pit exit kit isn't great here. Obviously, you want to hug the inside because that's evidently you're running less and you will make your lap time smaller. But yeah, there is always that issue there. It's quite tight. I'd like to think that if the drivers do obey the yellow line, we should be okay. But especially with this car's been a lot wider now, you could have a problem. But hopefully they just look at that there.
Yeah, Albon. Yeah, literally, if there was another car coming out, that's got an accident written all over it. But that's the line to take. So, yeah, I think you're right there, Kira. As K-Mag goes 5th. Wow.
Whoa.
There you go. I mean, the Hasses have had the pace. I mean, Mick Schumacher's well in the top 10 as well. And that Ferrari power unit that they have, it's got a lot of oomph under acceleration. I think it's because they've got a smaller turbo. I was reading up on this, and not to be too boring for you guys in the chat listening to this. Because they have a smaller turbo, it allows them to get that extra acceleration. Of course, it's a reliability risk, which, of course, Charles Leclerc found that out in Spain. So, you know, it's a bit of a, you know, good in one way, bad in others. But it certainly has helped Ferrari power unit teams. And that's explained why on a track where you do need that acceleration and traction, the Ferrari power teams do look very good, except for Alfa Romeo. I predicted Bottas to be on the podium this weekend. So, and that's not exactly looking good so far. Just looking at the chat. Coming back to that, Mark Smith saying Burns talking about history, yawn on the Jerez comment. Yeah, Mark, if you fancy putting in the chat, let everybody know what your PhD is in. If we're talking about history.
Oh no!
Bit irony there.
Talking about Mark, he's now said, "What is my favourite F1 team? Do I have better taste than Adam?" So obviously, Adam, I know that you are a Ferrari fan. Well, I would say Mercedes. I think they are probably the team that I favour the most, but. Yeah, I mean, I just love F1 in general. I like a lot of them. I think AlphaTauri have a good team as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's going to say about that, whether he likes my pick or not. He's probably going to end up saying Red Bull, so that'll be a bit of an opposite there. But I would say Mercedes. I think they are probably my favourite team.
I think AlphaTauri is kind of one of those middle of the road teams where it's a bit trendy to support. Like you can't really, and in a good way. I don't mean that as sort of like patronising, condescending way. It's almost like, yeah, they're a cool team to support. You know, fair enough. One of those ones. I think it's like the clothing brand that kind of adds that a little bit of prestige and trendiness to it. So speaking of Bottas, just coming over the line, he's P9. Nice. That's more like it from Valtteri. Well, he had that issue in P1, didn't he, where he wasn't able to do much running issues with the car. Russell goes P3, so the track is ramping up now, and I think that's probably the best time anyone in the Mercedes has done this weekend so far, so that's encouraging.
We've red flagged the session. Oh no. Here we go.
Yeah, Norris is a driver at risk, so there's been an incident somewhere. Only drivers in the pits right now, the 2 Red Bulls, so it could literally be anyone at this point, guys. So Ferrari looking concerned. Does that mean it's a Ferrari? Sonoda radio.
Oh, Sonoda.
It might be Sonoda because...
Yeah, Sonoda.
It is, yeah.
The barrier, but he's talking, so he's okay, which is good. You never know, obviously, when they don't cut to it, is obviously...
Leclerc's in the pits. So that car looks intact. So it's definitely not Charles Leclerc. Thank goodness.
It's Yuki.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Yuki. Bless him. I mean, it must be difficult for him. He is not, he's not a rookie, but he's new to F1 and it must be difficult in it. I think Yuki's always been one of those drivers. I think he's similar to Max, obviously, come up with the Red Bull, but Yuki has always been somebody that has pushed. He just push. There is no conserve. It's just like, I'm going.
Yeah.
And I think that can always come to bite you at some points.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And sorry, just to check, have you got the audio? Because I'm not listening to the audio because it's going to come through on the mix, and obviously I don't want the video.
Yeah, I've got the audio. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, no, so he's skinned the back. He's back in the pits though. I don't know what he's done. don't really know what he's done.
Yeah, just looking at replays, he's going through the chicane, which we will not be naming because, oh no, he's gone way too deep in there. He's going to hit the barrier.
Oh, so he's tried to turn around and... Why is
no,
that a red...
oh no, he's got a puncher. That's why. Yeah, one of his, I think it's the front left that's got a punch. Oh, because he's clipped the inside of the barrier.
There. Oh, but you know, it's not too bad then.
No, he's done all right to keep that going. That explains why he went really wide, because I was worried there. I thought he's carrying way too much. He's going to hit the wall. But
that's what I thought.
Yeah, it looks like he's just damaged the tyre. Might have been a bit of the underfloor underneath it. But, oh yeah, he's hit the cover. That's...
Oh, that's big. That is big.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Joe was on a lap as well. So you can see him in P20, but apparently he was about to cross the line when the red flag came out. So again, I feel like Joe is... Obviously, he has been quite far back compared to Bottas, but I think if you do watch his season so far, he has been very unfortunate with a lot of incidents. I feel like every time he tries to do something good, something else happens, or this or that, or this or that. So again, like, hopefully he can get back out there. 2 minutes 25, you'd think they can quickly go out and do another lap, but hopefully he can get himself a lap time, because that is very, very unfortunate to just miss out on the checkered flag. Yeah,
with the track ramping up, that would have probably been a decent... I wasn't too sure where it would have ended up, but it looked like he was about a second off Leclerc, so he might have been able to get in the top 15. Certainly got a car capable of it. Session's going to start in just a minute, at 20 past 4 local time, so that'll be 20 past 3 over here. So not the longest red flag. Fortunately, you haven't got to recover the car, so probably just a little bit of debris.
I was going to say, I'm not really sure why that's green red flag, to be honest.
Yeah.
If there was debris on the track, could they not have double yellowed and got on with it? I don't know. I feel like they are they're more like red flag in Monaco, because I think they think about, obviously, how tight it is and Marshall's getting on the track. But I don't know. I don't feel like that was really...
Yeah, I mean, it could have been it's probably two things, though. One of them might have been because it was a slow-moving car with damage that, might be a problem for other cars. And also because we've got 2.5 minutes left. If they'd a double yellow, that would have cost a lot of people their lap times, and they might have ruined them for the next lap. So... it literally with ended qualifying. So I'm with you. It was a little bit conservative, but, literally a minute or two later, we're back running. And almost everybody's going to be trying to get out. Lewis Hamilton, P8 at the moment, and the track's getting faster, so you don't really want to get caught napping the pits. I think probably everyone up to Magnussen is probably definitely safe, I reckon.
Well, this is the thing. You think that, but they will always still come out, won't they?
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You'll always find they'll just come out. And it's like, there's not enough room for you all, but you never know. I think, as we've seen from when George Russell put himself in P2, there's always room for improvement. But I do look at this sometimes and I think, you are definitely safe. You're not going to be pushed out of Q1. Get out. But there we go. Look, Charles Leclerc's not going again.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see he's getting out of that car, because I don't want him trying to go out there to do another lap and then risk spinning it. And
goodness me, no.
Yeah, because that would be sod's law. It really would be. Like, he'd come out, he'd think, oh yeah, absolutely fine, we'll just see how things go, and then he hits the barrier and that's it, and he doesn't need to.
Imagine that would be peak Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, it definitely would be. Just waiting for it to get started now. We've got a queue of cars led by, I believe that's Alex Albon at the front of the queue. So we've just got over 2 minutes left to go. You got Latifi next, and what have you made of Latifi this season, Kira? Do you feel like he's on borrowed time at Williams, or do you feel that he's still got a lot to offer the team going forward? Because it's a bit of a strange one, because I don't know how much money this guy invests into the team. Obviously, there are paid drivers. Latifi is one of them that we call like a driver that sort of pays their way into F1, but there are certainly plenty other options, particularly people like Oscar Piastri, for example, that's looking at a seat into F1 next season.
Yeah, no, for me, he's on borrowed time. I'm always for giving a driver an opportunity, and I'm always for, hoping that some drivers do well, even if they are paid drivers coming into the sport. Obviously, I'd watched Nicholas in F2 and there was nothing special from him there. So it was a question of why you're coming into F1. But I think for this first year, I was always like, give him time, guys, blah, blah, blah. But I'm completely over that now. And that was kind of like me with Valtteri Bottas. For so many years at Mercedes, I was his hype man. I was like, give Valtteri time. And then by the last 2 years or so, I was like, look, it's too far now. You can give someone amount of time, but if they can't prove that they're actually anything, there's what you see with Nicholas Latifi is what you get. There is nothing extra you're going to get from him. There is nothing more that he can give you as a driver. So I think he's on borrowed time. Yeah, I think Oscar Piastri may be knocking at the door, which I'll be very happy about.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hearing, just seeing in the chat as well, Motorsport Magpie saying that it sounds like a local marshal hit a red flag button, so race control have to follow it. Wonder if you press the wrong button. I mean, maybe. I'm not quite sure how those signals get sent to the race director, because they ultimately decide if it's a red flag or not. But it's a red flag this session. But obviously, once you start a red flag, you can't undo a red flag. You just have to go with the procedure. So it's
We do
Yeah.
get that a lot, don't we? Where they hit a red flag and they think, actually, it wasn't really necessary, was it? But then they've done it, so you can't stop it, you can't take it away or whatever. It's not like a yellow.
Yeah, I mean, they're quite quick to react at Monaco. I'm wondering, because of where Sonoda hit that barrier at the chicane that we don't know the name of, on the games and other times as well, the car tends to spin around when you hit that part. So the fact he's been able to get away with it, but they probably thought that car was going there once he hit the barrier and he just reacted. And they're very quick at Monaco to do that. So no harm done.
I'd rather them be quick. Yeah, I'd rather them be quick and safe than not. I mean, they didn't really affect us too much, did it? They were back out, so they could finish their laps.
Did him a favour, to be honest, in a way, because, yeah. Forgot to turn
the timer.
Yeah, there's the timer, everyone. So I'll turn that one off. But that's the end. Well, that's the end of the time. People still doing their laps. Time, yeah. I always forget to mute the timer when I do this. My bad.
That's all right.
Anyway, we've got Albon. Well, we've got Albon and Latifi on that. But at the moment, Latifi half a second off of Lando Norris, of all people, on the bubble. So, yeah, a bit worried there. My guy in the top 5, meant to be, at the moment. Alex Albon improves. So he stays P11. Latifi, a bit shaky at the final corner. He looks well off it, so this ain't going to be good enough to improve. And he's down 18th. But there you go. That's difference right there. 8 tenths of his teammate is Vettel goes P7. So he improves for Aston Martin, which is good to see Aston Martin with a bit more pace now that their upgrades or driving the green Red Bull. And we'll come to that in a moment, obviously, once Q1 is over, because I'm interested to get your thoughts on that. Norris goes P4, purple in Sector 3, so that's more like it. Ricciardo over the line, P9. So it looks like he might be safe. Next over the line is Lance Stroll, but he's not on a good lap, so he's not going through. Ocon goes up to P4. Ooh. So I'll tell you what, Kira, you might be right here. This track is really ramping up. Yeah. I said K-Mag was safe. It probably is, but yeah, Bottas on the bubble at the moment now. So
yeah, but if that was Q2, that would have been a different story, wouldn't it? For Magnussen would have been right on there. So I think everyone is going to have to just go these last 2 sessions that we have.
Yeah, and it looks like that's the end of qualifying for Q1, actually. So just to recap the bottom 5, so we've got Alex Albon fell back in, unfortunately, P16. Thought he was safe, but just missed out by 700. Sorry. Pierre Gasly, Pierre Gasly didn't make it for that. That's such a shame. Pierre Gasly
I don't think he done a lap.
No, I don't think he got his lap in. He was 6th fastest this morning. Looking very, very good. And he's wants to get the bad luck for Pierre Gasly continues. And unfortunately, you could argue, Kira, to a long degree, that his teammate's accident might have prevented him a chance to get that one flying lap he was going to do in. Yeah. So, yeah, not good for him. So he's 17th. Stroll didn't improve, so he's P18. Latifi, P19. And Guan Yu Zhou, or Zhou Guan Yu, I should say correctly, P20. But Alfa Romeo, well, I thought Bottas was going to be up there. He just about got through. So, yeah, huge shocks there for Pierre Gasly. It's just not going right for him, Kira.
Absolutely not. I'm just listening to Joe here. He's really upset on the radio. He doesn't know what to say. I think he was kind of stuck there with Gasly. The red flag, I think, was... I don't know why. I mean, they're quick to react, but now I'm annoyed because Pierre's out. I don't think that was necessary. You've got to read the situation. I mean, it was a very quick incident with Yuki Tsunoda. I don't really know why we needed to raise the red flag, but brilliant. Never mind then. Off you go, Pierre.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate there. I mean, when it rains, it pours, and maybe tomorrow it might rain in a different way and give him some favour. But yeah, that's really unfortunate for Pierre Gasly. And as I said, traffic can be a real problem in Monaco, and with a red flag at the wrong time, it can really cause that kind of surprise. Just looking for the chat, got Helena Sanford there, enjoying the live stream, guys from Lanzarote. So yeah, it's not
poor old Sprit.
Yeah, she's absolutely loving life out there. So yeah, so it's nice when the other half checks in and makes sure that checks in on your nonsensical hobbies every now and then. So thanks for that one, Helena. Aperol spritz in hand, yeah, lucky for some. Adam only seems a fan of red sports teams like Arsenal, hence the love of Ferrari. Yeah, that's about right, to be honest. It's not a sensible choice, but it's my one. It's anything in red will work for me, although there's another team playing in red tonight. Maybe I should have picked them instead. I might have been a bit happier.
Yeah, I've picked the wrong red. I can't lie to you there.
Well, it's funny, actually. Like, short story, obviously, when I was growing up, my dad wanted me to be a Man United fan. Same for my brother as well, but he bought us white and blue Man United away shirts back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Made the mistake. If he'd have bought us a red one, he might have had us in there, but I went with Arsenal, my brother went with Liverpool, so there you go.
Your brother made the best decision there.
Yeah, he certainly made the smartest one, but you never go in it for, you're going for the love of it, didn't you? You never go in it to pick the best team. Much as we try.
We've been there. We've been a lot lower than this now. So I'm sure it's up and down, isn't it, with football?
Yeah.
You're never always going to be at the top, are you? So
Absolutely. Who else we're going to chat? Yeah, Motorsport Magpie saying Gasly was cost a chance of Q2 because people being so slow coming out the pits. Yeah, that's very, very true. It was literally a supermarket queue coming out there, and if you come out at the wrong time, you're going to and you need to find space on the lap. So that literally much would do it for you. Liam Talks Motorsport. Hi, Liam. Glad to see you in the chat, saying hello and up the Real Madrid. Oh God.
Same where I've had enough of that today. I can deal with it till at least 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, I'm not going to weigh in on that one too much, but seeing as we're on a break before Q1 and Q2, Kira, I mean, I know you obviously want Liverpool to win, but what is your head telling you rather than your heart?
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult game. Real Madrid always are. I think we've got like the highest line ever. Which is a compromise when it comes to teams like Real Madrid because they are such a counter-attacking team. So that could definitely catch us out. I think we've got to have Virgil van Dijk on the A game. I think we'll probably play Konate, I'd say, next to him tonight as centre back. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be something that the boys are really going to have to be looking into. But I think sometimes we get a bit stuck. We've got a great team, but sometimes we can get stuck. And I'm the first to admit that. Sometimes there's just a problem and you can't tell what the problem is. We've had that way too much this season. But I think we'll concede. I don't think it's going to be one of those clean sheet for Liverpool. I'm nervous. I'm definitely nervous. Real Madrid have won Champions League. I don't know how many times, lost count. But I'm confident. I'm very, very confident. I think we've been on a great season. So I am fingers crossed for it. But, it is what it is. I think we've made it and that's the main thing. But I don't want to lose. So I'm going to say everything towards Liverpool and hope for the best. And if you see me crying later, then you know what's happened.
And of course, if you want to watch Kira cry live at football, you can go onto a Twitch stream. Just type in Kira Megan XX and you'll find it all there. That'll be live tonight, watching the Real Madrid Liverpool game. So, hopefully that won't be the case, Kira. Although I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't be too amiss to see Real Madrid win. But that's more of a...
Either way, I will cry. I can tell you now. I just cry about it. I don't know what it is. There's just tears that come through. I was crying at the last day of the Premier League, and I don't even know why. There was nothing even really going on.
Oh God, that was crazy enough as it was. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, there was so much going on. I tried to stream and put all the games on and update each game. My goodness me, I was like this one every like 2 minutes. But it was very fun. So I don't know if I'll be doing that again though.
Oh, just seeing that on. Sorry, just off topic. Just seeing how close that Marshall was to Gasly's. I mean, I'm guessing that's a safe spot, but he's a brave lad standing there.
Definitely.
Yeah, it always.
That's kind of the incident with it is when you kind of get marshals on track here at Monaco. It's not as easy as it is at normal circuits to be able to come on the track. But
oh, look how close he was. Just watching the replay of it. Yeah, the red lights just come just as. This is how close he was, guys. If you're not watching qualifying right now, the lights went red to end the session for Gasly just as he passed the grid slot for P3 tomorrow. Literally meters away. So unlucky.
Slow mode. Imagine that when it was like full pelt. That's not. I don't even know what percentage of the second that would have been. But...
It literally blinking, you'll miss it. It literally was that tight. But anyway, we're about to get started for Q2. That's just started now with Verstappen at the head of the queue, ahead of Carlos Sainz and a Ferrari. Sergio Perez behind him. I'm sure Leclerc's in that cluster of cars somewhere. So obviously, the leading guys want to get out there as soon as possible, get their laps underway. Do you reckon the track's going to ramp up any more now that we've had quite a bit of running on it? Or do you think that there's still more time to find, Kira?
Yeah, I think there's still more time to find. I think, as usual with qualifying sessions, things are, stepping up. So I think it's going to be similar to Q1 as we're going to keep going times. I've just seen that Liam has just said, holy crap, your analysis on here is so much more serious than on Twitch. Sometimes I can speak what I mean to say, but sometimes on my streams, they just don't come out properly.
There's literally anyone that's listened to my podcast will know I do the exact same thing, but there we go. Just looking in the chats, just saying, okay, so it's more Real Madrid favouritism. Fair enough. Liam Talks Motorsport in the words of, I can't repeat that, unfortunately, Liam, but I admire your enthusiasm on that one. But thanks for commenting, guys. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Of course, we're just about to start Q2 now as Max Verstappen with a huge gap behind him as Sergio Perez looks like he's trying to get as close to Carlos Sainz as possible, looking at the rate on the map in the corner. And now he's given him a bit of room now. So Max Verstappen, championship leader, reigning defending world champion, now lining up to start his first lap. And maybe it might be a good time for Max Verstappen to lay down his first mark of the weekend. He hasn't really done it yet, has he, Kira?
Yeah, no, he's kind of in a situation that Checo normally is, where he's there or thereabouts, but he's never quite there. So I think naturally he will pick it up a little bit more in Q2. So it'll be interesting to see when he finishes his lap. Obviously, he is ahead of everybody else. What lap time he can come out with. Let's see if that purple stays there or if it disappears in about 10 seconds time. Then you'll kind of know what people are doing and what kind of laps they're on.
Yeah, they've been doing around 19.1, 19.2s in the first sector in practice. So, yeah, the Red Bulls, I mean, that's gone. I would imagine that's probably Carlos Sainz that's broken that, possibly Perez as well. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, the Ferraris and Red Bulls have been trading purples all throughout the lap. It seems to be that Red Bull seem to have the pace early on, but they can't hold on to the tyres towards the end of the lap, whereas the Ferrari seems to have a lot better traction. But they just meet in the middle towards the end of the lap. It's nothing to separate them at the moment.
No, I know. Here we go again, like purple there, but someone's taken it away. Somebody somewhere is taking it away. I don't know which one of you it is, but I'm sure in the next 30 seconds or so we're going to find out.
Well, it's gone. So, yeah, Sainz is on a quicker lap than Max. I can say that much, as Max does a 1:12.5. That's a good solid time. So we might get a 1:11 perhaps by the end of Q3. It looks like Sainz
that is the question you asked.
Sainz is definitely on a good lap at the moment. And he was purple sector 2, green sector 1, and he's just missed out 1:12.0. And Perez goes faster, so Checo's on it as well. He's on it this weekend, Kira. Checo's really on it.
I think I did speak too soon. I said it would be a classic Perez where he'll just, be fast and then like end up falling into like fourth. But actually, he's holding on.
Well, it's incredible. I mean, he's half a second quicker than Max. That's astonishing. Wow. Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, this is what Red Bull need him to do. If Max isn't on it, they need Checo to deliver. And Charles Leclerc just misses out. He's P3. Of course, this is Q2, guys, so this won't decide the grid. We've still got another session to go. But, well, Checo and the two Ferraris in a league of their own right now.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. There we go. I was waiting for the times to come back up. There, it's close, isn't it? Really, really, really close. I don't know whether Max maybe had a problem there on his lap because, although we were on board and I didn't see anything, but there must have been something that went wrong there because I don't think he would be there on merit.
Well, it's a bit like that meme of that guy. I can't remember what guy it was that did the gameplay, and he thought he was in P3 in the Mercedes, and then he's going 16th. It's literally how it is around Monaco.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Just
I feel like it's a bit like that.
Alfa Romeo. Oh, no, it's fine. Sorry, I saw an Alfa Romeo pull over. I thought Bottas might have had a problem, but...
Perez got it's a bit of confetti.
well, it's a good lap, but I wouldn't celebrate quite too soon. It might come off the back of the Ferrari, maybe.
But, yeah, something's happened there. I'm not really sure what that was, but it just comes off somewhere at this point, doesn't it? They all seem to come off somewhere.
But yeah, that's it. I mean, you do a quick lap round Monaco. You think it's smooth. You've pushed it. You've laid it on the line. You come across the line, and then you find out you're like halfway down the field. You think, what? That looked quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just seeing Hamilton really giving it some beans now, and he needs to put a good lap together. Hamilton needs to show his pace. This is circuit he's won 3 times in the past, so he knows his way around Monaco, but the odds are certainly stacked against him at the moment. What can he do? Goes P5, 1:12.8.
Okay.
That's a bit more like it.
I was a little bit worried about getting into Q3, but hopefully with that, if we can keep that up, then let's see what Russell does. He's now coming around. Hopefully he can get himself similar to Hamilton. You'd like to think he could probably get ahead of him, to be honest.
We did a 1:12.7 in Q1, and it does 1:12.9. So yeah, it's around about the ballpark pace. So just a 10th off his teammate. Magnussen goes P9, 1:13.1. Mick Schumacher. Now there's a guy that needs a good result this weekend.
Yeah, massively. Yeah, I think what we're seeing here is, as I think I said before, calling at the start of it, I think it's going to be about 8/10 that the Mercedes is going to be off. I think Lando's going to be in that group of them. So I would say we've got the top 4. Then we'll have the Mercedes and Lando, and then obviously from there we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully Daniel can get himself up. But what's he doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's he doing?
And Ricciardo's future is definitely at risk at the moment. Just watching Ocon really throw it through the swimming pool section as Alonso goes P5 in the Alpine. Got Hamilton team radio. What's he saying, Kira?
Lewis Hamilton's just saying that, I don't know if he said the rears are too hot or something's too hot, but as usual, the Mercedes is overheating, which we're used to seeing.
They definitely go bold on the cooling package in Mercedes. They had that problem in Spain, which probably contributed to the water leak that they were having with their power units. And certainly having problems with heating, particularly the rear tyres, and you need that rear tyre stability at this circuit. You can't have them melting on you, especially in that final sector. Norris goes P5, so Lando, reliable and quick.
Yeah. I reckon he'll finish there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And it certainly looks like Lando looks the best of the rest at the moment. We've got Bottas, who hasn't really shown what he's capable of in this car. It'd be nice to see if he can pick it up a bit.
Yeah, let's see where Bottas comes out. I think we'll have a good battle between Alonso and Norris here. But I'd like to see if Bottas can get himself up there as well. Obviously, Mick, I don't know with Mick. I feel like Mick's. Oh no, there Bottas no 12th. I don't know if they're struggling a little bit. Obviously, we didn't have too much running yesterday, but as we say, Bottas knows his way around Monaco just the same as any of these other drivers. He's been here enough, so maybe it's just not clicking for them Alphas.
Well, that's it. I mean, in Sector 3 in Spain, they look very, very quick, and I kind of based my prediction on him getting a podium around that. And it showed that way in qualifying. But at the moment, for whatever reason, and Bottas is usually quite decent around Monaco. I don't think he's won at Monaco, if memory serves me right. But he's always been very, very good around here. So Verstappen 3 tenths off his teammates. So yeah, but at the moment, Perez...
It's that Sector 3, isn't it?
Sainz abandons his lap. Leclerc's on a fly. This could be a 1:11, Kira. He's about quarter of a second up on Perez through the first 2 sectors. Did a purple Sector 1, yellow Sector 2, meaning obviously he's not improved there. This could be the first in the 1:11s. Very neat and tidy through the final corner. Hugs the inside line like his favourite grandmother. And he's in the 1:11s. 1:11.8. There you go.
There we go. There's your 1:11.
Yep.
Smashed it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I felt that there was definitely one in there. The question was going to be how many and who it was going to be. But Leclerc has looked really good around this Grand Prix, and I certainly hope it translates into a good result. But
I hope so.
I hope so, but you can't speak too soon. Just looking at the chat, just Mark and Liam are having a nice little conversation. Just reading through that. Weekends Leclerc being Lenin and Verstappen being stuck. Okay, that's a different conversation altogether. I mean, me being boring about history, you guys, come on. You're actually talking about history there. And for those of you doing secondary school or A-level history, good on you. But anyway, let's talk about Formula One. That's a bit more interesting at the moment than World War II history.
I was going to say, I don't really know who Liam's talking to. No, he hasn't. Rosberg, Hamilton, Vettel, Ricciardo, and Verstappen have won here since 2013. I don't know who we said.
Oh, it was about Bottas, wasn't he? So yeah, thanks Liam for that one. I didn't think Bottas won round here. I was trying to go through the names of people that have won, but
he's been around here, but I don't think he's ever got top spot here.
He's always gone well. He just never has got on the top step of the podium. So I mean, it takes some doing if he did it this year, but well, with the rain,
you never know. Bottas's life, really, isn't it? I think.
Well, this is it. I was just thinking, like, who's won the Monaco Grand Prix that's currently on the grid at the moment? You've got, just looking at the names, you've got Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton, Vettel, Ricciardo. Anyone else that I can think of?
Don't think so.
No, I can't think of anyone else. Unless I missed someone blaringly obvious, then please do correct me, guys. But I think it's just the 5. Obviously, if you count Rosberg, because he's part of the broadcasting team this weekend.
Yeah, he's here somewhere.
Yeah, and... Yeah, all those drivers, and yet they did a segment yesterday, Kira, about the F1 world champions in history that have not won the Monaco Grand Prix. There were some really big names, like drivers like Nigel Mansell, for example, and a few others. And then you've got someone like Olivier Panis that won in Monaco back in 1997, I believe it was, something like 96, something crazy like that. So there's certainly hope for an underdog in this field in rainy conditions. I think Charles Leclerc missed the weighbridge. He did, yeah.
I think he did. I think that should be okay, though. I think he's just about caught himself. It's a very big penalty if you miss a weighbridge. I think we've seen that. Saw it in F2, I think last weekend, was it? I think, or was it F3? Somebody missed the weighbridge and that you're disqualified.
Yeah, I think, wasn't it Jack Doohan or something like that missed? It might have been him. Probably wrong.
I thought it was Miney, but I don't know.
Oh, no, it might be Miney. Yeah, sorry. I was...
Yeah.
Because Jack Doohan, he did start on pole, so he didn't lose. He didn't get penalised for it. Yeah,
but it's a big penalty, isn't it, when you miss that?
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, Sebastian Vettel a couple of years ago was quite vocal about that. I remember one time he had a bit of a protest where they wanted to move his car forward and he turned his engine off. He said, no, push me up.
Yes, I remember. He was like,
it was in Brazil, yeah.
Well, that's him. He's hilarious, isn't he?
Yeah, do love Seb. So just over 4 minutes to go, guys. Lewis Hamilton's now just started another flying lap. Currently P7, just under a second off Charles Leclerc. And that's kind of been the story for Mercedes this weekend. They have been around about that distance off the lead car at the moment, but they're still looking good. I think if someone offered them 7th and 8th this weekend, given where they've been so far, that's not the worst result in the world, but they'll be hoping for more.
Yeah. No, here we go. Hamilton again on a lap. Again, he's going to be behind, but as long as we can see the Mercedes boys doing green sectors, I think that's probably going to be the biggest thing for them. I don't think they're going to get any purples or not for any length of time. So hopefully they can I think their battle here, as we said, was with Norris and Alonso, and hopefully they can pop themselves up. But Alonso, I feel like he could just come out and do something very special.
Oh, that guy's an enigma. He really is. Like the way that sometimes he just pops up out of nowhere. I think Lewis is he abandoned? Yeah, he has abandoned the lap. Yeah. going through the Nouvelle chicane. I remembered it now. It's just literally come to me. There we go. It took us long enough, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I don't know why. I don't know why we didn't get that one. Never mind. Got it now. Nobody told us in chat either, so obviously everybody had forgotten that as well.
Or they didn't care.
About it for a good while. Or they thought we'll let them work it out.
I was going to say, hopefully one day DNF1 will be popular enough, like F-Series was, where people might pick us up on these things and put us in F1 struggle or something like that. But
you don't want to be an F1 struggle. I don't think I've really seen that for a while, actually.
No, it's maybe that's its own struggle. I don't know. Maybe finish. I don't know what happened to that account, but you'd like to think it's free publicity, even if you're making mistakes. I mean, people are still going to check you out, just try and catch you out again.
It's good. Sometimes you just put yourself in there just for the sake of it. Tag yourself in your own tweet.
Tell you what, that was a bit. That was a bit tight between.
That was a bit tight.
I know Lando and Carlos miss each other, but not that much. I mean, just Carlos there finishing abandoning a lap. I think Lando abandoned a lap as well there, fortunately, so that might save Carlos in terms of impeding.
It is tight, as you said. It's getting quite tight there. I
think Lando just finished the lap as well because he went P4. So actually, I think he was on a lap before he caught Sainz. So he must have used Sainz for a tow there. So yeah, Lando's rocking it out there right now. He could get himself up there if Verstappen's not careful. The last thing he'll want is a McLaren ahead of him in tomorrow's race.
Yeah, because that's always the thing. I feel like I don't like to judge somebody until the last lap, because you look at Verstappen here and you think, oh, it's not going well. But there's always a part of me in my head where it's just like, I just don't trust you until that final lap. I don't know whether you're holding back or not, but it may be here that he just isn't getting it. We've not had any radio from him to know why he's not quite up there. Maybe he's struggling around here. Yeah,
it's crazy. Just in the chat as well, like Liam's listed out the rest of the corners for us. I mean, I've seen Liam's channel. He knows his stuff. So glad to have you on board, Liam, to at least correct me for when I'm either wrong or completely lost for knowledge on this one. So glad to have you on for that. Just seeing George Russell coming through the middle sector at the moment. Where is he at the moment? He's we're 6/10 off Leclerc. Didn't improve in sector 2. He's approaching a slow Carlos Sainz, although he gets well out of the way there. I mean,
I'd hate to be a driver on a slow lap. I feel like you're constantly going to have to get out of the way.
Yeah, you're right. I was thinking the same there, Kira. I'd literally be constantly checking my mirrors. Even if I was on a fast lap, probably be doing that just to try and avoid other cars. But Russell goes P6, so he's improved. So there is time on this track. And at the moment, Norris is the only driver in the pit lane. Magnussen improves to go P10, but he's on the bubble. Mick Schumacher could knock him out here, and he doesn't. So he goes P13. So Mick Schumacher's not going through to Q3.
No, there's a lot of drivers there that I think are going to knock Kevin out. I think that'll be him done there. I don't think you're safe in 10th there.
Yeah, which is a bit of a surprise, but it just shows that everyone had a bit more pace in hand as we got Ocon, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher, who we know is definitely going out at this rate, Vettel and Bottas in the bottom 5. Ocon on a fly now. Love that helmet cam, especially around Monaco.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah. I think a lot of people, I mean, Charlotte from F-Series, she can't watch it. It makes her feel sick. But actually, I quite like it.
Yeah, I could understand. If you watch it on like a widescreen or something the whole way through, it probably would make you feel a bit sick. But, I mean, obviously the human eyes are a bit better than the cameras that sort of stabilise and handling the vibrations. But even still, as Ocon goes P6, Magnussen.
Kevin's gone.
Yeah, Kevin's gone. Hamilton goes P7, so he just eclipses his teammates. So nice to see the two Mercedes drivers pretty much on par with each other this weekend. So well, it just shows really how that's where they are behind the rest. So they're doing the best that they can. Vettel comes across and he goes P8, so he splits the two Mercedes. Bottas now Sonoda on a flying lap.
Bottas pushed out Alonso, or is Alonso on a lap? Oh no, Sonoda's on a lap. Well, that's not a good lap though.
No, Bottas has improved though. He's coming down the back straight. I'm not quite sure this is going to be enough though to beat Fernando Alonso. It's not. No. Goes P12. Sonoda's not improving. Magnussen and Mick Schumacher, they're not on laps, so it's only Ricciardo I think that could knock Alonso out as Verstappen goes P4.
Where is Daniel even there?
Well, he's on track. He's on track somewhere, but I can't see the checker flag marked next to him at the moment.
It looks like the TV directors have stopped, so I guess he's just not on a lap.
I would assume so. So it could be another bad session for Ricciardo. I mean, it's
how many more excuses can we give him? I don't know.
I mean, Danny Rick is definitely one of my favourite drivers. I mean, we'll just recap the bottom 5 as we are. Yeah, he's just picked him up now. So the bottom 5 is Sonoda P11, Bottas 12, Magnussen P13, Ricciardo the shock absentee from this or exit from this session in P14 for McLaren adds to more woes for his currently difficult form, and that's saying something. And then Mick Schumacher in P15, confirming that Haas didn't quite have the pace, and surprisingly Alfa Romeo neither. But yeah, on the Ricciardo subject here, of course his form's not been great, but a lot of interesting comments coming from Zach Brown talking about Ricciardo underperforming. He's not been as good as we'd hoped, and he's quite expensive at the moment. He's not delivering on what we're paying him. And recently, coming out and saying that no driver is infallible in their contract. There's always clauses in there that can get them out if they're not performing. I mean, that's a huge red flag if I've ever seen one in terms of a driver. What do you think with the Ricciardo situation? Do you think that he could also be on borrowed time this season unless he picks up his game?
How long's this contract? Has he got another year on it? I don't really know his contract situation.
Well, I think if I heard rightly, I think his is up the year before Lando's new one is. So I think that takes him up to around 2024, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think that's where McLaren can go wrong sometimes. I think sometimes their contracts are a bit too long. I think McLaren are definitely a team that will really put a lot of faith in you. They're not a swappy in and outy team. They've always been a team that will give you time. But I don't know. Even if you say you're not a Daniel Ricciardo fan, you are. Everyone's a Daniel Ricciardo fan. But realistically, since he's left, and I was always adamant that he could find some inner peace somewhere out of Red Bull, because I was one that wanted him to leave Red Bull. I don't think it was the place for him, but I don't know, for some reason it's not working anywhere he's gone. Obviously, the Renault at the time was a very different car, and I always thought the McLaren would suit him more. I feel like the differences between the Renault and the McLaren, I think he would have suited the McLaren more, but I know the cars have evolved since then. That was a couple of years ago, and obviously we've got a complete new car this year, but it's just not something he's getting himself on top of, and I don't know. I don't think anybody knows the answer why. I don't know whether he needs a completely different setup, but it's a shame it's not working, because I would not like to see F1 without Daniel Ricciardo. But realistically, with as you said, how expensive he is and how he's been performing, if he was to say get dropped from McLaren or of some sort of that way, what other team is going to look at him and think they want to pick him up from what he's done the last couple of years? Because I don't think I would.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like there aren't a list of options. I mean, we've heard people like Pato O'Ward, who I believe just signed a new contract to stay with McLaren in the IndyCar project for 2025. So that one might be off the table in terms of him. But Colton Herta, although hopefully he's okay, because he had a bad crash yesterday at Indy in practice. Yeah, it was a bit of a nasty one. He got out of the car and he was okay, but it was one that I think completely flipped his car over. So, yeah, hopefully he stays safe. Of course, the Indy 500 tomorrow. I'll certainly be watching that whilst I'm editing the podcast review for Monaco.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, because when I was looking at what to stream, I was going to do the playoffs for the final spot for the Premier League. But I thought, no, do you know what? IndyCar. Let's get the IndyCar on. It only happens once a year, so pop that one instead. I think that should be good. Well,
that's always a fun race to watch. I mean, I'm not an IndyCar fanatic. I do keep an eye on things, but the Indy 500 is always a race that I'll watch. And anyone could literally win in the field. I know we have a few favourites, people like Scott Dixon, for example, who looks very, very quick at the moment. But you never really know. I mean, who knows? Maybe Romain Grosjean or Callum Ilott or Marcus Ericsson.
We'd love a Callum. Would love a Callum Ilott, and I really hope he can stay safe, because especially obviously we know how long the Indy 500 is. You can get to so far through the race and something happens and you're out, and it must be so heartbreaking to get that far. It's almost like 24-hour Le Mans or like an endurance race when you get so far. We've seen so many times with like 24-hour Le Mans, it's like the final lap and the car goes, like something happens and it's like, oh my gosh. So hopefully everyone makes it. Well, not everyone makes it to the end, but our favourites make it to the end.
Oh, like of course. We want to see a nice little shoot out there. A few of the fan favourites like Elio Castroneves, for example, get him in there. Takuma Sato, of course. I mean, that guy knows no. Did you qualifying? He hit the wall, didn't he, on his first run, and he just carried on as if it was nothing. It was madness. That guy, crazy
man. He's a crazy man. Honestly, he just does what he wants. Some people just, they're just good. They know their limits, and they even can go a bit too far, and they can hold on. It's very lucky, very, very lucky.
Yeah. So Q3 starting in 3 minutes' time. So just a little bit of a delay as we're just watching Sebastian Vettel cooling down in the Aston Martin cockpit. And so obviously, Kira, we've seen the first two qualifying sessions now as Christian Horner's on the coverage for it seems like the 6th race in a row. I know they were going to go for all the teams. I know Christian's keen and they like talking to him, Sky, but I thought they were going to spread it out this year, weren't they? think that's
he's getting a bit too much, to be honest. Like I don't need to hear from the man every day. Really, I'm quite happy not. And as well, it's like you hear him on the coverage, you hear him in quali, you hear him in practice, you then interview him after the race as well. And it's like, do you know what? I don't really need to hear his opinion that many times. I'd like to. There are like 9 other teams here. We could go and speak to somebody else. So hopefully they can get somebody else on. I like when they had Franz Tost on. He's been on a couple of times. It'd be nice to hear from Mike Crack again. I think we heard from him like once. Maybe Otmar. Now he's switched himself over, but yeah, I don't know. I will. Let me take my headphone out if Preston's talking.
Yeah, I've not. Well, yeah, that too. No, I've not heard much from. Yeah, you can tell we have our favourites on here. I mean, some people they try, but you just get a reputation on broadcasting, and that's it. You've lost them for good. But Otmar Safnauer, we ain't heard much from him. He talked in Jeddah, and that was that race where both the Alpines were fighting each other at the beginning of the race. And it was a bit chaos. Yes. But we haven't heard from him since. I'd love to get his take on the Aston Martin Red Bull controversy over at the moment, because it's gone a bit quiet at the moment, and I think that's because the Aston Martin has not jumped to the front of the midfielders. I think a lot of us expected when we saw those Red Bull-esque side pods. Red Bull obviously weren't happy about it, and obviously there's a long story around how that kind of came to fruition. But we haven't heard from Otmar Safnauer, and I'd love to hear from him on that, because he was on the receiving end of all the abuse when Racing Point basically came out with a Mercedes clone. Now he's not working for that team anymore, so I'd love to know his opinion on that one.
Say what he wants. Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like that's what we need. I feel like sometimes with the broadcasts recently, we're not picking up on everything. We're just picking up on the main key fight at the front. But especially F1 fans, we want to know what's going on in the nitty gritty in the middle of the pack. We want to know about Aston Martin. We don't just want to hear about Sky. We know Sky with their broadcast, they have a 24-hour channel. They have all the time in the world. Give a little bit more time to go and pick up on these things, So hopefully we can hear from him at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Q3's just got underway. Charles Leclerc leading them out, and a lot of pressure on him to try and get pole position, and of course avoid crashing his Ferrari like he did last year. I think on the Otmar Safnauer thing, before we go back to quali, Kira, I think we need to task your friend Kira. Sorry, Kira. Completely lost my words. It's Steph. That's what I'm thinking of. Steph from F-Series. Get her on it, because I know she's done a few rounds with a few F1 personnel lately.
Yes, so, she has, yeah.
Get Steph on the task if you see her. Say, find Otmar, have a word with him, get his thoughts on the...
unfortunately, she's not there, but she would, we should have to find her at some point. I don't know. I think she don't know which race she's going to do this year, but hopefully, whenever she's next there, we'll get her to go and track him down.
Oh, absolutely. And what we'll do, just don't have a microphone. I'll have one quite subtle so that you can't see it, because obviously you won't want to say anything that might risk getting him sued, but...
get a little one here that can pick him up, hopefully.
That's it. Do a bit of undercover work. But 11 minutes to go now. We've just started Q3, 12-minute session, and this is the pole position shootout. Now, it'll be interesting to see if some of the teams have fueled their cars up for a few laps, because these soft tyres can do a few flying laps. They do a quick one, then cool them down. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. It might be a bit different to what we normally see in quali when they just do 2 flying laps. But who's your money on, Kira? Leclerc looks fast. Perez looks very, very quick as well. Sainz is up there. Verstappen not quite there, but he could turn it round. Who do you reckon's getting on pole?
Checo does it very fast, but I am still going to stick with Charles Leclerc, and I hope I haven't said that now and that jinxes him to go and, crash his Ferrari in the wall somewhere. But I'm going to say Charles Leclerc. I think he's just about got the edge here.
He does seem to have that little bit something extra. But of course, when Leclerc does push it to his absolute limit, there is that Gilles Villeneuve in him where sometimes he goes a little bit too far. Wow, what a first sector. Just saying that, 18.8. That is absolutely blistering. So I have to keep an eye on this lap from Charles Leclerc. He did a purple first sector in Q2 we didn't quite get to see. So he's certainly on it. I'll be surprised if anyone beats that in this first run. And as we said, Kira, this first run could be the one that determines the grid, because if someone makes a mistake and causes a red flag... then
this is the thing. It can very easily be over.
And that's what Charles Leclerc did last season, although I'm not implying that's a tactic, but we saw Felipe Drugovich do something similar in F2 by accident, of course. So, that answers your question, Liam. Yeah, we do watch F2, and obviously seeing Drugovich do that in qualifying. So let's see what Charles does. He's done a purple Sector 2, although that he's the first person in Sector 2. So let's see what this time's going to be. 1:11.8 it was earlier on. This is a 1:11. Wow, 1:11.3.
You were talking about getting the 111s, but I'm getting the 110s.
Well, I think at the moment, Charles Leclerc looks like the only one that's going to do that, unless Sainz and Perez pulls one out of the bag. But let's see what they can do. I mean, that's absolutely lightning fast. And, of course, running around with the Buzz Lightyear logo on the Ferraris this weekend, because both their drivers did the dubs for French and Italian. French and Spanish, sorry. Was it Italian? Yeah, French and Spanish for the new Buzz Lightyear film. As Sainz goes P2 1:11.6, so that's a good lap as well. And Verstappen looks like he's caught a bit of traffic behind one of the Mercedes.
Does it give you a tow or does it give you some traffic? Oh, yellow flag. Oh no. Oh no, it's clear. It's scary. It's so scary when you see that yellow flag for like a split second. You suddenly look and you're like, who is it? Which one of you is it?
It's probably a Ferrari into turn one, because I can't see a Ferrari come out, because we've seen it a few times in practice where someone's gone too far into turn one.
Yeah,
and then they
so
spin it round.
But there, aren't they?
Yeah, I can't see anyone there, so it probably wasn't there. But just in answer to your question, Kira, it might have given him a tow, to be fair. I mean, he's gone P4. Perez is slotted in P3 just behind the two Ferraris. So at the moment, advantage Ferrari right now. But Leclerc, wow, looks like he's in a different league to everyone else right now. Yeah,
looking good from Sainz as well. I don't think I was really expecting that. I don't really know. We've not really seen him do too much this weekend. He's been there or thereabouts, kind of similar to Verstappen. But I mean, it might be Charles Leclerc, and there might be a fight for P2 here with Sainz and Perez. It's probably looking that might be a little bit more likely, but can never rule out that's Verstappen.
No, absolutely not. And Norris in P5 is watching Hamilton go through the final corner. Just got a text from one of my co-hosts, Lee, saying so far his top 5 prediction is right. And it is so far, as Hamilton goes P6. The closest we've got so far, Kira, I think in Spain I got 4 out of 5, and the only one that let me down was Perez, getting P6 rather than P5. Russell goes P7 for Russell. So, it's looking good so far if you're a Ferrari fan. And Red Bull P3 and 4, Norris P5, Mercedes 6 and 7, Hamilton ahead of Russell, Vettel P8, 2 Alpines not yet set a time. So we'll see what they can do. They're
either going to run in the gap or they haven't got enough tyres for 2 runs here. So they might have to just hold on and go at the end, which, is a difficult thing to do. But hopefully no one has any issues. Oh, there we go. Alonso is out, so he has obviously got the 2. They've just gone a little bit later than everybody else, I guess, as everyone's finishing. They're kind of running in the gap, I'd say.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be all right for traffic, because they do this in F2 when they split the qualifying session because of what happened in 2011, which was chaos. So they should be all right for traffic, but I see what you mean. Obviously, you don't want to get backed up too much. And some of them, Alonso goes P5, Alonso.
Yeah, wow. He's definitely had the edge of Ocon this weekend, hasn't he?
And then some. He's about a second quicker than Ocon. Ocon's definitely he's got more pace in him than that. He's about 8 tenths off his teammate, though. So
something's happened there. I don't know why he's that far behind.
El Plan finally shown itself in Monaco by the looks of it. But
I know.
But Perez going around now. See what his first sector was green. Middle sector, he's lost a lot of time in the middle sector actually. So this one improves.
What's he doing? Why is he on the lap? What's he doing this for?
Well, I think what it was, Kira, is that they looked like they were trying to go for a second lap with a little bit less fuel on, but it seems that the tyres just don't have that second lap performance unless he's doing an.
No, it's wasting time. I just think it's I know they try with the less fuel, but some tyres run here. You've got one lap, and then that's.
Yeah. Well, the beauty with Monaco, I suppose, is that they've got another set of softs on, so you'll probably find that they'll pit now, wait, and then just do one flying lap at the end. Really, everyone's got their banker laps in, so. This is going to be fun now. Just over 5 minutes left to go at the moment. Just recap the top 10. We've got the 2 Ferraris at the moment on the front row. Could be the 3rd race in a row where they qualify on the front row. Leclerc ahead of Sainz. Then Perez just behind Sainz. Verstappen, the World Championship leader in P4. It's been a while since he's been P4 on the grid. Alonso P5 for Alpine. Norris in P6 for McLaren. He's been strong all weekend. Is still doing that whilst having tonsillitis as well. So fair play to him. 2 Mercedes on the 4th row of the grid in 7th and 8th. Hamilton ahead of Russell, then Vettel 9th, Ocon in P10th, as we're just about to get underway for the final part of qualifying, guys. Get in the chat. Who's your prediction for pole position? Can anyone stop Charles Leclerc with that advantage? Can anyone get themselves further up the order? We'll just have to wait and see. But of course, guys, if you have enjoyed the stream so far, don't forget, give it a like, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of the season. And of course, with your help, we'll be able to do that. And let us know of which other guests you'd like to join us on the watch-alongs in the future. And of course, we'll definitely have to get Kira back because it's it's been brilliant so far.
Yeah. Oh, get me back. I'll come every week.
You say that, but I'm going to actually hold you to that, Kira, at some point.
No, stop it. It's you or me every week. You'll get bored. Your chat will get bored of me every week.
Get your DNF1 shirt and everything.
Yeah, I know.
I've had worse. Don't worry about that.
You had a Man United fan of.
Oh, God, no. I draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, that is the line. I would say that is the line.
So we've got Max Verstappen going around at the moment, and he looks like he was the first. Oh, he's gone very, very loose at turn 1 there, almost hitting the back of the car really, really pushing on a set of
Yeah.
brand new softs. So he's gone early, clearly.
Yeah, maybe he's going to try and do 2 laps here.
Possibly. I think he learnt from last year because if you remember rightly, Kira, he was going to smash pole position. Then Leclerc's red flag cost him.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's on new tyres. He must be. But yeah, so he's obviously trying to avoid that this year. Not implying Ferrari do that, but we have seen one Michael Schumacher pull a little trick like that at Rascasse many years ago. And this is coming from a Schumacher fanboy. So, and Nico Rosberg, which had that part of the track named after him, I think. The Rosberg Road or so. I don't know what it is in Monaco, but something named when he parked his Mercedes at there, claiming that he'd locked his brakes there.
Very, very bad. Not working here for Verstappen though, is it?
It really isn't. He's 3.5 tenths off at the moment, so he may want to, if I were him, and this is a brand new set of softs, I'd probably abandon this lap and then go again and cool it down and go again, because he's not going to improve unless he sets the final sector of all final sectors. And yeah, he's
really wriggling, isn't he?
I'll tell you what, the last thing he wants to do at the moment is really crash that car because, well, doesn't really want to be... Yeah, he wants to make sure he's got a car to race with tomorrow, and... yeah, especially when he's worked so hard. Norris is really frightening. There's a lot of cars losing it at the final corner. Really are.
Yeah. I mean, think about Felipe Drugovich yesterday. Why are we bringing that up again? No, I know. I mean, I don't know if we're all going to make it. To be fair, we've had a very, and I don't want to touch wood, we've had a very, very clean qualifying session here, haven't we?
Yeah, we have so far. And Leclerc team radio, what's he saying, Kira?
I didn't really hear the first, but I think he's just swearing. He's not happy about something. I think he's not happy with where he's been put out or something.
Quite possibly could be. I've just seen Russell on a lap now. So Liam doing a great job correcting me once again, saying it's Massenet and at Rosberg way as well. Thanks. Definitely going to have Liam on this because he can just correct everything I say, really. Just for the benefit of you guys listening in. And yeah, knows his stuff, Liam. So great channel as well. Seen Russell come through the final corner.
See what happens here.
Yeah, he's been all right, Russell. See if he can get ahead of his teammate. P6, 112.1.
Nice, yeah. I think that's where about as far as they're going to get there. I don't think they'll get themselves any higher than that. I don't think they're going to get past Norris today.
Yeah, fair play to Mercedes. It does seem like damage limitation so far on a Saturday, although Sunday, with the weather tomorrow, could prove to be a trump card for them. They've just really struggled to, I think more than anything else, just having a comfortable, consistent ride. It seems with this Mercedes, Kira, that the car characteristics lend themselves to being very, very quick when you get it in the right setup window. But when it's not, it's an absolute handful.
Yeah. And as well with the bouncing, I think the bouncing they've said has came back a little bit more this weekend than what they thought they'd got rid of in Spain. So, I mean, I couldn't imagine sitting in a car and be bouncing up and down like that. I'd be sick. I don't know how they do it.
Well, Leclerc's on another one. He's just gone faster in Sector 1. So he's 1.5 tenths up in Sector 1. Another purple. I tell you what. Part of me wants to see him pull this off, but another part of me thinks he might have pole in the bag here. Just don't crash the car, Charles.
I know.
Save the car more than anything else. Especially with Perez, and there's a yellow flag in Sector 2.
Checo.
And it's Checo, yeah. Checo's crashed.
Oh my God, Carlos has just crashed into him.
And that's a red flag.
That's the end.
And that's the end of qualifying.
You said you don't want Charles to ruin the car. Perez has done it.
Well, there you go. I mean... Yeah, Perez crashing just before the tunnel, guys.
Sorry, what did I just say about 1 minute before?
Yeah.
So far, it's been really clean. Oh.
Commentator's curse on that one, but...
That was...
And
I do that way too often.
Yeah, and Verstappen literally just seeing it right there. And for some reason, Alonso's crashed at Massenet.
Well, Alonso, there was already a red flag. You didn't need to do it.
Maybe
we already had the red flag.
Sainz, what's he saying? He must be disappointed because he might have been on a good lap.
Oh, I hope Carlos hasn't got too much damage there. It looks like it might just be a rear wing, if anything, so hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, and that's always the thing, isn't it, with the gearboxes? I mean, Perez as well might also have a problem, because we've seen in the past when they have those crashes at the rear of the car that the gearboxes do tend to be affected. But of course, the headline is, guys, Charles Leclerc on pole position at Monaco, and this time, he's not the one that caused the red flag, so it's a clean one.
Ferrari 1-2.
Ferrari 1-2 once again, third race in a row. Perez causing that crash has ruined everyone else's chance of getting there, but he won't mind because he's P3, Verstappen P4, who will be bitterly disappointed that he messed up that first attempt on his final run. Norris P5, so Lee, one of my co-hosts, spot on, Lee, 5 out of 5. Well done, Lee. Well done, mate. Russell P6, Alonso P7, Hamilton, unfortunate there, down in P8. Vettel P9 and Ocon P10. The session will not be resumed, not surprised. 30 seconds were left on the clock, so that's the end of qualifying, guys. So, Kira, we can now relax and take a deep breath. But what a lap from Charles Leclerc. And in a weird way, the only disappointment of that is that we didn't get to see what he could have pulled off, because he was going even faster on his second run.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I said earlier about obviously if Verstappen could pull anything out the bag, but he did run a little bit further before, and it obviously was very sure that he wasn't going to do anything there. But yeah, it would have been good to see what he could have done, but I don't think it really would have changed the order too much. Obviously, I don't know what Checo was on. Wasn't really looking, to be honest. But we were all just looking at Charles.
Yeah.
That looks hefty there. Do you know what? Actually, you never know on the insides, do you? But the rear doesn't look too bad. I'd hope to think for Perez it is just
yeah, way too much speed.
I don't know whether that might be okay. I mean, I'm judging from the clear mechanic here. But I think he might.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I just watched
right.
Signs sort of slide into the back
funny,
of the chat.
Isn't it?
Yeah, Liam's saying in the chat that Signs didn't see the yellow flags. Obviously, he's gone in there and obviously seen. He's done well.
Well, no, but they're so close, aren't they, to each other? You're not going to see it. You're just going to go. He would have definitely stopped.
Oh, I'm just looking at Perez looking to his right there, sort of seeing Signs coming at him. Oh, that wouldn't have been fun.
No.
Good thing he let go of the steering wheel when he did. But Signs did well.
Like this, like what are you doing?
It's like going to the Dodgems down the local pier or something.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And then you got Verstappen pulls up and he sees that that's after what happened last year, the last thing Verstappen would have wanted to see is that sight. But
imagine if he would have joined in as well. You could have a three-way little.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is good for Charles. He's managed to get to the end of qualifying with pole, and he has a car intact.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much on this because I don't want to jinx him. But so far, so good. He's kept his nose clean, quite literally, where others have faltered. And whether it's going to be dry or wet tomorrow, Charles Leclerc looking at the moment in good shape to win. I mean, some point, hopefully he can break his duck. I'm not going to say much more because I don't want to jinx it. But
we don't want to talk about it too much. I will jinx it as well. I'm not going to speak on him. I will do it. I don't mean to, but I will.
Yeah, Charles Leclerc sympathy corner at Monaco has got quite a lot of members at the moment, so hopefully it won't last much longer as we get a nice close up of Max Verstappen's arse as he puts the steering wheel there. Yeah, it's not quite Valtteri Bottas, but
or a Seb. It's not quite, is it? Seb's with that meme where Seb's kept turning into them total wipeout balls.
Oh God,
yes. Great.
Oh man, wow. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that and quite an enthralling qualifying session there. Certainly enjoyed that one. And Kira, any thoughts for tomorrow's race?
I think as we said earlier, I think the main excitement of the weekend has now gone. Interested to see if anything happens tomorrow. I don't know how many overtakes we're going to get. Hopefully, I would think Charles Leclerc will probably just hold it. Whether Sainz will be caught up by a Red Bull or something, if the Red Bulls even might have a penalty, we don't know. If Perez has to change that gearbox, what will happen? But yeah, I mean, just hopefully I'm hoping for a good race for Charles, really. I just think that's just what I'd like to get through the weekend with. And then maybe if Alonso or the Mercedes can do anything tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd like to see a replay of Alonso's crash into Massenet because...
I think he might have just gone... I mean, Tatiana Caldron done that in F2 a good couple of years ago, so it's not a massive thing. I think sometimes you just lose it and next thing you know, you're in that wall there.
Yeah, in a weird way, just seeing Sainz and Perez the damage to their cars, if they do have to take penalties for whatever reason, I think they should be okay, but I know in the past, obviously, when you get stuff like that, it might be a problem. It may benefit Max. You know, you won't be happy about P4, but... yeah, certainly going to be work for the world champion to try and recover that one. But just as a last reminder, guys, if you have enjoyed this one, do give a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We really appreciate your support, and we hope that you've enjoyed qualifying as we see Charles Leclerc being swamped by all of the local media. Obviously, hopefully, we'll see similar sights tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see. But as always, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. And Kira, last chance to sort of plug your show, especially with your stream tonight, watching the big Champions League final. Where can our followers find you?
Yes, I know, to most people's disappointment in this chat, I will be repping for the Reds tonight, but I am live streaming over on my Twitch from 7:30 tonight. We will be watching the Champions League final. It's going to be immense no matter what happens with the outcome. Very excited for it. And yeah, if you want to find me, I am at Kira Megan XX on Twitch. If you want to find me on other social medias, I'm either Kira Megan F1, Twitter or TikTok, or Kira Megan XX, Instagram, Twitch, or YouTube. I think I'm just Kira Megan. Just fine. If you search Kira Megan somewhere, you're going to find me. So yeah, do join me for that tonight if you are interested in a little bit of European football. Yeah,
the one and only. I'll certainly be looking forward to the Champions League final. And score prediction, Kira, before we go off?
I said 3-2 to Liverpool. That probably would go to extra time. I don't know. It's going to be tight. We're definitely going to concede, but hopefully someone can do something good from our end.
Yeah, certainly. opportunity for someone to put their name up in lights, and it's going to be a great final. I certainly can't wait to see it. But guys, I hope you enjoyed that. We've been DNF1. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I feel like I've plugged that a lot in the last 5 minutes, but there we go. And we'll, of course, be back for the Monaco Grand Prix review podcast, which will be going out Monday morning to react to tomorrow's race. Kira, as I mentioned already, loved having you on. Hopefully, you'll be available in the future. We'd love to have you back on. Maybe might be a regular thing if you're interested. We'll have to wait and see. But until next time, guys, we've been DNF1. Hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next qualifying live stream. Take care.